Welcome to Your Intended Message, the perfect place for leaders and promising professionals who want to convey the intended message for greater success. Every week, we interview experts who can help you communicate more effectively, whether that's one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many. And perhaps the most important conversation, one-to-self. I'm your host, George Torok. Welcome to Your Intended Message. My guest today is Steve Slaunwhite. There's 3 facts you should know about Steve. 1, at the age of 17, it was his first copywriting gig for his dad's furniture restoration business. And Steve wrote a successful mailing letter that boosted the business. His first real gig, and he did it for an allowance, maybe an increase he got after that. The second fact about Steve is he's written several books. One of the most notable is the Everything Guide to Writing Copy. And bookauthority.com rates it as one of the top 100 copywriting books of all time. And finally, Steve isn't just all business. He's an avid artist, a painter, a Van Gogh maybe, but still has both ears. And he's also a guitar player. Steve Sluanwhite, welcome to Your Intended Message.
Well, thanks, George. Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And just to clarify, I'm a decent writer, but I'm not that good of a guitarist or artist. I'm just a hobbyist in those activities.
I have to ask the question, guitar player, who's one of your favorite guitar players? Who would you, if you could be that guitar player, who would that be?
Bruce Kohlberg, probably my favorite, yeah.
Bruce, okay. Steve, we're here to talk about copywriting. First, let's clarify what it means. It has nothing to do with legal rights. What is copywriting about?
Yeah, we're talking about marketing copywriting or sales copywriting, not copyrights and patents and intellectual rights and things like that. What copywriting is persuasive communications. It's writing ads. It's writing sales pages for your programs. It's writing landing pages and email campaigns to persuade customers and clients to buy your products and sign up for your program. So it's really the voice of your business is copywriting.
Steve, you were able to enter the world of copywriting at age 17. Was that for you a natural talent, or had you been studying the concepts or principles of copywriting at that time?
Well, when I was 17, I didn't even know it was called copywriting. I just thought it'd be a cool idea to do something for my dad's business. He had an antique restoration business, and he was B2B, so he didn't sell to consumers. He sold to other antique dealers. So I went to the library, went through a bunch of yellow page books and got addresses of antique dealers and wrote a sales letter, a mailer, and mailed it out. And he ended up over the next few weeks landing 2 new clients. And I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. It was just something I was doing. I thought it was a cool thing. Didn't know it was called copywriting. I didn't even know it was called marketing. I was 17. And then I, went to university, and then my first career was in sales. And I was in sales for 10 years until I really discovered this copywriting thing. And I loved writing, loved sales. And I thought these two activities really come together nicely in this thing called sales copywriting. And that's what I've been specializing in ever since.
Steve, that first letter, have you ever had a chance to go back and examine that and notice what you did right by accident, maybe?
I don't have it. I mean, I was 17. I didn't know what I had. I mean, it would be wonderful if I kept that thing. But, looking back at 17, it was just something I did. Never thought it would be, important to keep many years later. I wish I did.
Mm. Now, when you work with clients now, I believe you both write copy for them and you teach them how to write better copy.
Yeah, and actually I do 3 things. I write copy mostly for entrepreneurs and business owners. I also do a thing called copy consulting where they've written something, but like it's a sales page for a new program or an email campaign, and they want to make it really good, and they want to get good results, good conversions, good response. So they'll book an hour or two with me, and we'll go over it together and improve it. That's copy consulting. And I also teach copywriting as well. So I do all three. Whatever I need to do to help my clients write better copy, I do those three things.
When you are coaching a client, so a client has written something and they said, Steve, help me make this better. You're probably thinking, oh, I don't think we can do anything with this. Is really bad. You're probably thinking, but what are the first characteristics that you look for, that you search for when you look at copy that someone's written that they want to improve?
Yeah, and usually the copy I get is actually pretty good. There's a lot of good elements working there. But the one thing I look for first is benefits, old-fashioned benefits. I mean, we all know what they are, but we often don't write those when we write our copy. So I always look for benefits. Benefits are the so whats of your copy. So if you have, let's say you're launching a new course, and your course is going to teach X, Y, and Z, okay? Well, what are the benefits of X, Y, and Z? What's the benefits of learning X? What's it going to do for me? How is it going to help my business or my career or myself? How is it going to impact me? How am I going to benefit from this? How am I going to feel from this? A lot of those elements are missing in sales copy. So when I'm working with a client, that's one of the first things we look at. Hey, let's flesh out some of the real meaningful benefits here and present those in the copy. That alone will make the copy a lot more persuasive. So that's the first thing I look for in copy.
Now, it's curious, when I've looked at, you look at a calendar from a course calendar from a university or a college, and they usually use language like, in this program, we will cover. And I'm thinking, so what? Who cares what you're going to cover? What are you going to help me do?
Yeah, that's it. Well, what are going to help you do, solve, achieve? That's what people really want to find out before they buy something, especially a service or a program like that.
Mm. And when you sit down to write, the client says, Steve, I haven't got time to write it myself, or I know I'm not good. I want you to do it. Here's a product. Here's a service we want to roll out, a campaign. We'd like you to write us a letter, an email, an announcement we can send out. Where do you start?
Well, usually three things. I'll have a conversation with a client, and I'll ask three questions. First of all, what is it? What are the details? What are you selling? What are you promoting? What's the offer? I'll ask about benefits, and sometimes we'll brainstorm with the client right there on the spot. Let's take a look at, see if we can flesh out some of these benefits. And the third thing I'll look at, which is very important in copy and something that is often missed, but very powerful, is differentiation. Differentiation. What is it about your program, your product, your service that's different from your competition, or that's different from other options? Because, well, let me give you an analogy. Let's say you're at a grocery store and you walk up and you're buying oranges, and there's two bins of oranges. One's the super orange, the other one's the amazing orange, okay? How are you going to decide which orange to buy? Because they're both oranges. Well, you're gonna decide to buy based on the differences. One is organically grown, the other one isn't, and that's meaningful to you. You'll buy the organically grown one. Or one is a popular brand name and you trust that, so you'll buy that one. Or one is cheaper, or one is juicier, or one is bigger. You're going to look at the differences. So when you're writing sales copy, you really need to hone in on what's different. Why is this program, this product or service better than other options that the buyer has?
And so I guess a first trigger or first warning is, if your copy sounds like the competition, it's not differentiating enough.
Yeah, then someone will read your copy and go, why don't I just buy the competition? Maybe it's cheaper. You want to focus on the differences. What I often tell clients to do is try to finish this sentence. Unlike other, and then insert your product or service, our product does this. So Unlike other online courses on leadership, our course, and then finish that sentence. If you can do that, if you can finish the sentence, excuse me, then you have your differentiation. And when you're writing sales copy, you want to really highlight the differentiation. Another mistake I see people making in sales copy is they have something that differentiates their product or service or program, but then they bury it in the middle of a paragraph or in the middle of a long list of bullets or something. You want to make it stand out. You want the differentiation to be its own sentence, its own paragraph. Put it in a separate text box. Do something to make sure that differentiation jumps off the page or screen.
Unlike others. So coming out, starting your copy with, well, we offer you service, quality, and price. Not sounding different from anyone.
Yeah, actually, starting a sentence with that, unlike others or unlike other widgets, our widgets do this. It's actually, it's actually a good way to start a sentence. When you read a copy and you see unlike other podcast services, you're going to notice that sentence, aren't you? You're going to wonder what is different. Because when buyers are looking at a product or service or program, they're looking for differences. What's different about you? What differentiates you from other options that I have? What makes you stand out? What's your sweet spot? What are you really good at? What makes you really different? What is it about you that's exclusive that I can't get anywhere else? That's what you really want to highlight in your sales copy.
That phrase is, I've just drilled it into my brain. I like it so much. Like unlike others. I haven't come across. Thank you for that. That alone is worth the benefit of this discussion that we're having here today. You also help people with their emails, and of course a lot of writing email campaigns, sales letters, a prospecting letter, and people might write emails where they are simply prospecting, looking for new prospects. So it's a cold email.
Cold emails.
That's one situation. Another situation is they have a list where they're sending follow-up messages. So tell us what you see. Let's start with the prospecting emails. What are people doing wrong? What can they do better to make those prospecting emails more effective? And is it still worth attempting that?
Yeah, it's interesting you ask that question, George, because I've done a lot of work with prospecting emails over the past couple of years. And let me share some tips on how to make them work. First of all, they still do work. It's still an effective way to reach out to brand new prospects, okay, and introduce yourself and your product or service to them. One thing to keep in mind that your prospecting email is an introduction, not a sale. You're starting the conversation. You're not trying to finish the conversation with the sale. So first of all, what you want to do in a prospecting email is to have an easy to say yes to offer or an easy to say yes to next step. So what is a difficult, like let's say you're a professional speaker and you're looking for these days, virtual speaking gigs. Okay. So if you have a prospect email that says, book me as your speaker for your next event, that is a difficult to say yes to. I don't know enough about you yet. But if you have an offer that says, reply back and I'll send you a 10-minute speaker reel that'll give you some highlights of my virtual training to give you a sense of how I approach the topic and how I present and how your audience can benefit. That's an easy to say yes to offer, isn't it? Because, yes. Okay, I'll reply back and you can send me a link to that video and I'll check it out. Now you got the conversation started. So have an easy to say yes to next step or offer.
Now it's easy because
it doesn't require a big decision.
no big decision. There's no risk. There's no commitment. It's, hey, what have I got to lose? Could be something valuable here.
That's right. Another thing is that make sure your prospecting emails are highly customized to that one person. Make it a one email to one person. The idea of creating a prospecting email that you cut and paste and send to all your prospects, that just doesn't work. You can have a template. I mean, you can have a template that guides you and has, certain paragraphs and sentences written in a nice way but you want to customize that to that one person. That's really important. If someone reads your prospecting email and feels that you've just cut and paste it and send it to everybody, and you don't really know them or haven't done your homework to learn about their business, they're not going to read it.
It's like those ones I get where you have a beautiful website, but we can make it, but it's not getting enough visits, and we can help you. But they don't even say what website. Like you, I have more than one website. Well, first of all, what website are they talking about, and why do they think it's beautiful? Because actually, I think if they're talking about the one I think they mean, it's ugly.
Yeah, but if you got an email, George, that said, George, I just wanted to say I've been listening to your podcast. You know, I've enjoyed the first couple of episodes. I hope you do more of them. And by the way, we are a podcast consulting company that offers some services. If there's any way that we can help you, please check us out. And by the way, if you'd like to get a feature sheet of what we offer to see if there's anything there that might be able to help you, just let me know, reply back, and I'll send it to you. That's a much more effective prospecting email. I just wrote that off the top of my head, but it's a much more effective prospecting email, because you're looking at that email thinking, yeah, you wrote that just to me. It's truly a human-to-human contact here. You're not just blasting out a sales message. You're trying to have a conversation with me, and people respect that and respond to it.
After the prospecting email, and let's assume you get the easy to say yes, the prospect responds. What's the next step in the process? Is it an email? Is it a phone call? Is it a, hey, go look at this website?
Yeah, then you have to start customizing your approach. Once you get a reply back, you got the conversation started, then you got to start strategizing how you keep that conversation going. And that depends a lot on your sales cycle and what you're trying to achieve and things of that nature. You should always obviously follow up if they've requested something. Let's say they requested a video, or they requested a feature sheet or some sort of offer like that. You need to follow up on that right away. Ideally within a week, but then it depends on what else you're going to offer in your sales process. Maybe the next step is a short discovery call. So maybe you want to pitch that. That's a little more difficult to say yes to offer, but you already got the conversation started, so it's a logical next step. But even if you're pitching that, if you say, hey, let's book a discovery call to talk about how we might be able to work together, you have to communicate the benefits of that. You know, what are they going to get out of a discovery call? What are they going to learn? Are they going to be pitched to, or is there benefits from that alone for them? You know, so use the example of a speaker, George, because we're all we're speakers, and we know a lot of speakers. You know, if a 15-minute discovery call could help an event planner make a smarter decision about whether to go with you as a speaker or someone else as a speaker. So you can say in your email, you can say, hey, I realize how difficult it is to pick the right speaker, because once the speaker is on stage or on video, I mean, it's too late to make any changes. And you don't want to be the person who made the wrong decision. I understand that. Let's book a 15-minute discovery call. Let's talk. Ask me any questions you want. You'll get a much clearer sense of what I can offer. And it's a 15-minute investment for you, but it'll help you make a better decision whether you go with me or another speaker. So you're communicating the benefits of the discovery call itself, and you're much more likely to get a discovery call booked that way.
So each step of the process, in order to move to the next step, you need to highlight the benefits of going to the next step. So you're not selling the end, you're just simply selling the benefits of the next step.
Always be selling the benefits of the next step. Yeah. Always be selling the benefits. Always be pointing out the benefits and highlighting the benefits of your offer or next step. The worst thing you could do is start saying, can we meet? Can we meet? Can we talk? Let's book a discovery call. But you're not telling them what's in it for them. You know, how do you benefit? What's in it for you by agreeing to a discovery call or whatever your next step is? You always have to be communicating the benefits.
Now let's examine the email itself, the structure of it. Typically, when I receive an email, naturally I look at two things. I look at the title, subject title, and I look at the name. If I know the name and it's someone I like and trust, I'll probably open it regardless of the title.
Right.
If I don't know the name, then it's all based on the title, and that might mean open or delete. What needs to be in the title? Wait a minute.
Yeah, and you mentioned something very important. The from line is really important, right? So you can customize the from line in an email. You can say George Torok, and then have what you do or something next to it. Maybe that communicates the value of what you're offering, if it's a newsletter or something like that. So you can customize the from line. But you're right, the subject line is really critical. And just like I keep mentioning benefits, and I don't mean to be a one-trick pony here, but benefits are so important. Make sure that your subject line is benefit focused. Communicate a benefit in the subject line. What's the benefit of this email? What's in this email that's going to benefit me? Why should I open it? Okay, so make sure you communicate a benefit. Also, a tactical tip is make sure your most important words are at the front of your subject line, because sometimes the words at the back of your subject line are either not written or they're cut off on an email program, especially if you're reading it on your phone. So most important words up front. And keep in mind that your most important words are often verbs. So achieve, learn, accomplish. These are verbs are often benefits. So put the verbs as close to the front of your subject line as possible.
As opposed to starting a subject line with regarding.
Yeah, regarding our, it's try to communicate a benefit.
Now you open, okay, so I get the email, I open it, the subject line, I don't know the person, but the subject line looks interesting. There's a benefit there that I'm mildly curious about. Open it, and then what's next? The first line, the first paragraph, how critical is that?
Your opening is really important, whether it's a traditional promotional email where it may be all dressed up in design and stuff, you receive these, or whether it's just a kind of a plain text email, like a prospecting email. Your first few sentences are really important. First couple of sentences are really important. You got to establish so much in that opening sentence. First of all, people will sometimes read the first couple of lines in their preview before they even open the email. So those first couple of sentences are important. But also when they open the email, those first couple of sentences have to hook them, have to hold their attention. One of the best ways to do that is to highlight the problem, challenge, goal, or need that your solution addresses or solves. Okay, so you could, if you started an email, do you find it difficult sometimes to write authentically sounding sales copy that works? So you start off with their problem or challenge. That's going to hook them. That's going to get them thinking. Okay, yeah, I do struggle sometimes. Your next sentence talks about the solution. So leading with the problem, challenge, or goal can be a very effective way to start most types of sales copy, particularly emails.
And I see the emails where the opening is from someone I don't know, and their opening line or open paragraph is something like, "Hi, how are you today? Hope you're feeling well." They don't care. They don't know you. Or they start off by telling me their name. I don't care. I don't know your name. If I want to see your name, I'll look at the bottom. So those are useless, I'm guessing. They don't work on me.
Well, they don't work on a lot of people because people are suspicious of those. Like just like you said, who are you? I don't know you. You're much better off with coming clean, saying, "Hey, we work with clients that have these problems. We have a solution that might be able to help you. This is a bit more about who we are, and here's the next step that will help you learn more, that you can benefit from." You're much better just go straight into just get the conversation started with them in an honest, authentic way, rather than beating around the bush with, "Hi, I'm Steve, and how are you today? And oh, this is really an odd year, isn't it, George?" And trying to do that when you're thinking, who is this person, right? Just get right down to it right away. and people appreciate that.
And the structure of the email, are bullets good?
It really depends on the email. I find that in prospecting emails where it's really one-to-one personal, I avoid bullets because when you're writing to a friend, for example, do you use bullets? You don't. You just write the email to a friend. So if it's a personal one-to-one email, which is what prospecting emails often are, one-to-one, then I avoid bullets. Sometimes I'll use them, but it really has to be a good reason. I avoid them. Now, in some other campaign emails, marketing emails, yeah, they can be effective because it helps you scan the copy, right? Unfortunately, these days, a lot of people, well, there's an old joke in copywriting. For every reader that dies, a scanner is born. People are scanning copy rather than reading copy, right? So bullets help with that. And by the way, even if you don't have bullets, you should make your copy scannable. Avoid long paragraphs. Even a regular sized paragraph that you find in a book, if you try to read that in an email on an iPhone, it looks like War and Peace you're scrolling through. You don't want that, right? So short paragraphs, single sentence paragraphs, really break it down into scannable elements so people can easily scan the copy.
Headings, is that a good idea? And should you use bolding and underlining?
Again, I'm differentiating between prospecting emails and campaign marketing emails.
Got it.
Prospecting emails, I avoid it because, again, do you write that way to a friend? You might use some strategic bolds, and that your email to me the other day had a bolded sentence because you wanted to draw attention to it. That's fine, but I wouldn't go too far with that. In a marketing campaign email where people know it's a marketing email, where people have signed up to receive these emails, that's a little bit a different beast. Yeah, you can use subheads, headline, subheads, and bullets in emails like that.
Steve, I know that you have a newsletter that can help people offer more tips on their copywriting. So if they're looking for tips on writing emails, web pages, blog articles, even working on titles for their articles, and they can get a subscription to your newsletter called Copywriting Smarts, and the place to sign up for that is copywritingcoach.com. That's copywritingcoach.com to get a hold of Steve's newsletter, which comes out how often, Steve?
It comes out weekly, and it gives you a short tip or lesson and how to improve your copywriting.
Now, Steve, let's in the short time we have left, let's transition from emails for marketing to emails that are used within the workplace. So here's an exchange of information. It might be setting up a meeting, it might be asking for instructions, it might be giving instructions. What techniques can people use in their workplace emails?
Yeah, well, my specialty is sales copywriting, so I tend to focus a lot on that, not so much on internal emails. But the elements of persuasion are exactly the same. If you're trying to persuade someone to run with your idea, to discuss your idea, to attend the meeting when they have an option not to be part of a project team when they have an option not to, so you have to convince them, then, again, going back to that marketing 101 thing about benefits. What's in it for the other person? Let's say you want someone to join your project team because that'll help your project become more successful. You're the project leader. It's going to help your career if that project goes over well. But you want someone on your team and they have an option to be on your team or not. So you want to convince them and you're sending them an email. Talk about the benefits for them of being on the project team, not for you, not would you please be on my project team? It'll really help me. No, what's in it for them? What are they going to be able to learn, do, accomplish as part of your project team? You really have to sell it to them, right? And you do that with benefits.
Steve, if you had one message to send out to the universe when it comes to improving your emails for marketing and sales, whether it's prospecting or building relationships or upselling, if there's one key piece of advice that you would give to them, a piece of advice that is priceless, what would that be?
Well, it's pretty simple. The better your copywriting, the higher your sales. I mean, there's a direct correlation there between good sales copy and higher sales. So my message to the universe, to the business universe, was to simply pay attention to your copywriting. Look at your homepage, look at your product pages, look at your emails. And remember that if you can make those better, sales will go up. So look for ways to make them better.
My guest today was Steve Sluanwhite. Unlike other copywriters.
Unlike other copywriters, that's a good one, because I can list a whole bunch of them, but it sounds like I'm just bragging. Unlike copywriters, I have 25 years experience doing just this. So I go deep and wide in the techniques that actually work to increase conversions, increase response rates, increase leads and sales.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much, George. This has been great. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast.
If you like what you heard, remember to like, comment, and share this podcast. Come back every week for more practical insights to help you convey your intended message. I'm your host, George Torok.